Welcome. Nice to see you all. Thought we could take a few minutes and just together um, enjoy this this amazingness, um, and really the effortless nature of it. As you just sit here, as we just sit here without doing anything per se, without trying to make something happen, without making effort of any kind, there's this arising, this appearing of all of this. Isn't it so? Isn't it extraordinary how there's just this ever-present sense in all the myriad forms that sense of here can take, the sense of something occurring can take, and it can take countless forms, it would seem. The sense of something being here, the sense of something arising, the sense of something being present is absolutely here effortlessly, isn't it? The streaming forth of the instant of what's here, the streaming forth of what's now, the streaming forth of actuality, of reality is somehow here, inexplicably. We are here, whatever we think of as ourselves. This being, the beingness of everything, is here effortlessly, spontaneously. It's the streaming of the moment, you could say, is continuous. There's a kind of smoothness to the streaming. The way in which it is constantly in a, you could say, a kind of state of source, a state of forming, a state of becoming, a state of unfolding, really more an activity of forming and becoming. And that entire process of this moment becoming, this moment, the upwelling of this moment is effortless, isn't it? We're not having to do anything to make this happen, it would seem. All of the springing forth of the instant, arising from some unknown place, being generated, powered by some unknown force, we could say. Not that whatever is generating this moment, giving rise to this moment, is somehow separate from the moment. I mean, we could say the moment's just generating itself. It's just as accurate to say that. This is generating this. Reality is generating reality somehow. There's no explanation for that. The entire display, all of it, consciousness, what we call consciousness, what we call thought, feeling, sensation, memory, imagery, all of it being generated spontaneously and effortlessly, isn't it? Every impulse, every urge, every desire, every single aspect of it simply here. Again, bubbling up, welling up from where and how? is the welling up occurring? We can't say. We can't say what's doing this. And just enjoy that. Just let yourself feel the way in which you already are drinking this in. And the drinking in of this is also effortless. The perceiving of this moment is effortless. That's the drinking in of it, isn't it? That's the reveling in it, is the perceiving of this moment. There's no effort, is there? I mean, even if we make effort to try to perceive this in a certain way, even our effort comes from where somehow is fueled. Our effort is fueled by something that we can't say where it comes from. The energy comes from where to do anything. So all doing, in a sense, is effortless. All this attention in the contemplative traditions on consciousness, understandable, because it's the miracle of miracles, in a sense, that's arguably at the basis of everything that's encountered, everything that's known, everything that's appearing. But as with everything else, the consciousness of this moment, the knowing of this moment, is here spontaneously, isn't it? The knowing and the moment are one thing. The appearance and the knowing of the appearance are not two things. So in a very real way, we could say all that's here is the knowing of this moment, the knowing of what's appearing, whatever it may be, however it may be construed or interpreted, or doesn't really matter right now. It's like we're swimming in this sea of knowing, and everywhere we go in the sea, we find knowing, the knowing of whatever's there. The knowing is like they say in the Dzogchen tradition, it's like sunlight filling space, which is also effortless. The knowing pervades the whole field of experience. It's just the very shining of the field, the very luminosity of the field is a knowing of everything, and that is completely effortless. It's just here, isn't it? It's undeniably here, unavoidably here, the knowing. And just enjoy that. Just enjoy the restfulness of how effortless that is. The effortlessness of your own wakefulness. Just relax. Let yourself relax into the effortlessness of that. That's everywhere and pervading everything and inseparable from everything. Everywhere you swim in the sea of here, the sea of reality, you find aliveness, don't you? You find the aliveness is inseparable from the knowing of the aliveness. Aliveness everywhere, vitality, existence everywhere. Everywhere we seem to travel, we meet the same thing: life, reality, existence. In a sense, all those words are kind of synonyms for each other. None of them, of course, able to capture the absolute inconceivable mystery of what's here. Mystery just won't be collapsed into any of the words. The words are just, but sometimes they can be potentially evocative of this astonishing, miraculous inconceivability. And of course, we're not some thing separate from the knowing, separate from this all-pervading aliveness, like looking at it somehow from a distance. That's not what's going on. We can't pull ourselves out of the totality of this sea of knowing, this sea of aliveness. We are that. And notice how this sea of presence, the sea of knowing, is absolutely edgeless, isn't it? Openness is not some kind of something to cultivate and practice being more open. Openness is just the basic nature of reality, is completely without border, without walls, without uh, barriers. There's nothing in the standing in the way of anything else. Just pure openness, spontaneously here. Just feeling what's here, not needing to try to get a handle on it, because you can't really get a handle on it. And yet something's clearly here. It's just not collapsible. It's not how do you put infinity in a box? Not very well. Any box. And even this is seemingly tiniest aspect of the reality is an infinite, open-ended, boundaryless, fathomless world. Reality truly is not what we think it is. That's amazing. And yet somehow tasting and touching and feeling the way in which this is completely indefinable is just, you know, unthinkably rich and luscious and delicious, isn't it? There's no lack. There's no lack in the indefinability, because lack is just a framework, a conceptual framework. Lacking what? Exactly. It's completely beyond any such notions of lack or incompleteness. And just enjoying the simple beingness of this. The sheer fact of presence of this, the presence of reality. A presence that is constant but simultaneously will not hold still, will it? It's just slipping away, slipping away, slipping away. So elusive, but always here. Well, that doesn't make any sense. Always here, but you can't pin it down. Never changing, but ever changing. And ultimately beyond both of those frameworks. the those lighters, I forget, like, they've got the little kind of wheel that you kind of spin to turn on the lighter, and that feeling of like when it doesn't quite light, you keep like trying to get the lighter to light. Is like, I think sometimes our practices are a bit like that. Like, you just keep trying to get the light, and then it'll stay lit for a little while, then it'll flicker out, and it's like, and we're doing this, trying to make something happen. And meanwhile, the whole scene is illuminated. We're like there with our little lighter going, trying to light it up. It's funny, actually. Meanwhile, it's like blazing, blazing light everywhere. And of course, trying to get the little lighter to light is also the blazing, shining forth of reality too. So it's not, everything's included. But once we see that, we can kind of relax all of that trying to make something happen and realize, wow, something freaking miraculous is happening without our having to do anything to make it happen. And it's so powerful and radiant in its already present, ever-changing form. Just and each of those little things we like seem to try to make happen as humans, like, I'm going to take myself and open myself up to become more open. It's like, it's just like the lighter. It's like, come on, open up, mind, open up, heart, open up, being. And meanwhile, reality is just like, here I am, already boundlessly open. So enjoy this, that I am, that everything is. Trying to become present with our little lighter, trying to become more present. Reality, full on presence 24/7. And we can enjoy that, right? It feels amazing to enjoy this ever-present presence that's just here, streaming forth as everything, and which of course includes us, streaming forth as all of this.